WFPRLP Franklin on 102.9 FM.
Recording in progress.
Good evening. Time being 7 o'clock, I call the December 18th, 2024 meeting of the Franklin Town Council to order. Please pause for a moment of silence. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let's go. That was the loudest pledge we've had in a long time. Thanks, kids.
We come back every meeting, okay?
We really do have a packed house tonight. It's nice to see so many people here. Okay, a note to all residents. All citizens are welcome to attend public meetings in person. To view the live meeting remotely, citizens are encouraged to watch the live stream on the Franklin Town Hall TV YouTube channel or the live broadcast on Comcast Channel 9 or Verizon Channel 29. Meetings are also archived by Franklin TV on the Franklin Town Hall TV YouTube channel and shown on repeat on Comcast Channel 9 and Verizon Channel 29 for those who miss the live meeting. To listen to the meeting remotely, citizens may call in using the number 929-205-6099. This will not permit participation in the meeting. To participate in the meeting remotely, citizens are able to join a Zoom webinar using the webinar ID 822-8090-3210, then you need to hit the pound sign. Once again, the webinar ID is 822-8090-3210 pound. Any participants who wish to speak during the webinar must enter their full name and email address when joining the webinar. All participants will be automatically muted upon joining the webinar. In order to speak, participants who have entered full name and email address will need to select the raise hand function to request to be unmuted. All speakers will be required to state their full name and street address before commenting. Tonight, Councilor Jones was unable to attend as he's a little under the weather. So just because we have some legal documents that need signatures tonight, I'd entertain a motion to appoint Kobe Frangillo as temporary clerk.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion? No. Seeing none, the vote will come on the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Wow.
Now you can sign. We got big shoes following in Glenn Jones.
No pressure.
Now he's going to talk even longer than he is.
Of course, we have him do it on a night when the liquor licenses are renewed, and he has to sign every single liquor license.
That's why Glenn's.
Okay, upcoming events. Let's see, we have any, the Franklin Town Council will hold office hours tomorrow, December 19th, at 8:30 a.m. at the Franklin Senior Center. Also, the Franklin Police Department is holding its toy drive. All gifts received will be given directly to families the PD had identified as needing a little extra support this holiday season. Currently, the police department is looking for gift cards to help provide gifts for ages 14 to 18. All gifts are accepted up until Christmas and can be dropped off at the police station. Okay. Moving on, the next item on the agenda is citizens' comments. Citizens are welcome to express their views for up to 3 minutes on a matter that is not on the agenda. The council will not engage in a dialogue or comment on a matter raised during citizens' comments. The town council will give remarks appropriate consideration and may ask the town administrator to review the matter. Nothing herein shall prevent the town administrator from correcting a misstatement of fact during citizens' comments. Is there anyone in council chambers that would like to speak on an item not on tonight's agenda? Whoa. Okay. Is there anyone out there in Zoom land that would like to speak on an item not on tonight's agenda?
It must be
Okay,
Colby.
it must be cold.
Motion to bring the kids every meeting.
Okay, next item on the agenda is approval of minutes. I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes from November 13th, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion, additions, deletions. Seeing none, the vote will come on the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, entertain a motion to approve the minutes from November 20th, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion, additions, deletions. Kobe.
Just a small one. This was pointed out to me. I would, under my comments about the tax rates, I just asked that the town look into each of the tax exemption options and study them, and that just wasn't reflected in this document. So if we could add just a half a phrase about my request that the town look into those.
Sure.
Otherwise it feels.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
Thank you.
Will do.
okay. Okay, as amended. As amended.
Second.
Motion and a second. Okay, any further discussion, additions or deletions? Seeing none, the vote will come on the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Well done, boys. Come to all our meetings, we'll tell you which way to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, next item on the agenda is what a lot of people are here for this evening. Proclamations. You gonna do fourth first?
Yes.
Okay, the first proclamation is to the fourth grade youth football team, and I've asked Councilor Cormier Ledger to read that proclamation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. You are all welcome to come to every future meeting because it's wonderful to see such a full room, and it's even better to see all your faces. You guys excited? Yeah. You had one heck of a season. Your sixth graders had a great season too. But before I read this, I just want you guys to know that a lot of people worked really hard to get you here. Okay, your coaches put in hundreds of hours. Your parents worked concessions. Your parents sold soft goods. Your parents did fundraising. The community came out to your games. So when we talk about you guys winning as a team, I hope you think about all those adults that were helping you guys too. Football's a great team sport, right? And I benefited from being on the youth football board for a few years, and I have kids in the program now playing at the high school level. My nephew plays. I get it, how special this is to not only win a Super Bowl, but to win a state championship. So we're all really, really proud of you guys. So can I have the coaches for 4th grade come up? So this is a Town of Franklin proclamation honoring the 2024 4th grade Franklin Panthers youth football team. Whereas the 4th grade Franklin Panthers youth football team, led by head coach Jason Aiello, ended its regular season with a 2-6 record with approximately 15 healthy players and several returning players not seeing much field time in the season prior. And whereas the Panthers worked extremely hard during every practice and game, improved their skills, and moved on to Division II playoffs, which led the team to a 19-0 victory against Weymouth in the playoffs. Whereas the team advanced to the Super Bowl to play a hard-fought game against Walpole, resulting in a 12-6 loss. However, that led to the Panthers playing in a Division II state finals. And whereas Coach Jason Aiello was notified about the upcoming Division II state finals with only 3 days' notice, and after nearly 2 weeks with no practices, and guess what? He said no problem. The Panthers rallied. They held 2 solid practices in 2 days and put in a tremendous effort, which ultimately paid off with a 26-0 victory over our friends in Taunton in the state finals. So now, therefore, be it known that the 4th grade Franklin Panthers youth football team is hereby commended and recognized by the town council. That's my team, guys, by the way, up there, okay? Recognized by that team, the town council of the town of Franklin, for proudly representing all of us as Division II state champions. So, congratulations. Now, wait a minute, you gotta stand up and show everybody the trophy.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Chairman. I don't even, Mr. Chairman, after we'll do photos?
Yes,
Okay. Is it okay to move on to grade 6?
yes, please do.
With your permission? Can I get the coaches for the grade 6 football team to come on forward? And how about all the grade 6 football players come forward and just kind of take a seat up here, okay?
Can't use the mic because it's going out.
Oh. Okay. All right. How about you put that right here, just so everybody can see it, all right? Probably be the one and only time I'll ever get to touch it. Okay, very nice. All right, you guys take a seat, okay? All right. Okay. So not only does Franklin have a championship team here, but we've got a championship team here. That's pretty incredible, right? So just like I told the younger players, you guys will thank all your parents and coaches when this is done, right? Because you guys didn't get here without their help. So the second proclamation tonight from the town of Franklin is a proclamation honoring the 2024 6th grade Franklin Panthers Blue youth football team. Whereas the 6th grade Franklin Panthers Blue youth football team, led by head coach Steve Gatewood, ended its regular season with an undefeated 8-0 record, shut out 7 teams, outscored their opponents by 304 points. Can you guys go play for the Patriots? I think they could use your help. And you entered the Eastern Mass playoffs with the number 2 seed. The Panthers faced their previously undefeated brothers from the Franklin Panthers white team in the Eastern Mass Super Bowl on November 10th of 24 at Norton High School. Led by their lockdown defense, blue team beat the white team with a score of 15-6 and advanced to the state semifinal game. Whereas the Panthers faced the Bay State League representative Quincy United over at Canton High in the state semifinal game on November 17th, 2024, led by their aerial attack. The Panthers beat the Quincy United with a score of 42-13 to advance to a state championship. And whereas the Panthers faced the Central Mass Super Bowl champs Oakmont Chargers out of Millbury for the state title on November 24th, led by their powerful running game, the Panthers beat the Chargers with a score of 32-12 to win the state championship. These 25 young athletes demonstrated hard work, determination, and discipline, and proved to be the key to their successful season. So now, therefore, be it known that the 2024 6th grade Franklin Panther Blue Youth Football Team is hereby commended and recognized by the town of Franklin and the town council for the town for proudly representing us as state championship. Congratulations. You want to take a minute for photos, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, let's take a minute for
Okay.
photos with the
Okay.
two teams, and
Okay.
then...
So can we
we'll
get
take
the
a
fourth
10-minute
grade,
recess.
fourth grade players with the trophies and the coaches to come out by the TV? Then we'll do
Recording
some photos
stopped.
with the sixth grade, okay?
Hey, Debbie. Jump in.
Everyone look out there. Okay? Steve, you tell us when you're done. Awesome. Now, boys, we're going to get up and take
Recording in progress.
Okay, I'll call the December 18th meeting back to order. A little calmly this morning. Okay, we have a couple more proclamations this evening. The next proclamation is for Peter Brunelli, and I've asked Councilor DeLocco to read that proclamation.
Well, it's a great honor for me, as Peter's one of my real closest friends, and for a night where we have football championships, and the DeLocco family, the Terrace family, the Brunelli family have been involved with football. I think my father and your father played back in the 30s. So to say we go back a little bit of a way might be an understatement. So, but Peter must be watching down on this and being very happy as far as I'm concerned. So this is a proclamation honoring Peter Brunelli in recognition of his outstanding service to the town of Franklin. Whereas Peter Brunelli was born in Franklin in 1958 and was a proud 1976 graduate of Franklin High. And after graduation from Brown University in 1980, returned to Franklin, where for nearly all of the past 44 years, he lived, worked, and raised three very successful men, Daniel, David, and Kevin, alongside Barbara, his loving wife, for 41 years. And whereas a lifelong resident of Franklin, Peter contributed in countless ways to his hometown. From his early days as Franklin High football captain to later in life becoming coach of Franklin Charger Pop Warner, where he got me involved, in Franklin Middle School football teams, and from his many positions on the town and community boards, including Hockomock YMCA, United Chambers of Commerce, Franklin Business Association, Franklin High School Gridiron, Franklin High School Lacrosse Association, Franklin Salvation Army Christmas Kettle Drive, Keller Sullivan School Building PAC, and as a lector at St. Mary's Parish. To that, the positions he continued to hold through 2024, including his incredible 29 years board membership on Franklin Housing Authority. His board membership on Charles River Bank, and the president of the Fletcher Hospital Corporation and organization that donated over $125,000 to local charity over the past 10 years under Peter's leadership. I didn't even know he did half this stuff either, and I'm his friend. And whereas, above all, Peter was devoted to his faith and family. He was a long husband, a superhero, dad, and grandfather. And whereas Peter Brunelli passed away on September 8, 2024, and while he is dearly missed by all who knew him for sure, his legacy of generosity and community service will have a lasting impact on the Franklin community. Now therefore be it known that Peter Brunelli is hereby commended and recognized by the Town Council of the Town of Franklin for a lifetime of outstanding service to the Town of Franklin, signed by Thomas Mercer, our chairman.
He's not gonna say anything?
Okay, next proclamation we have is for Steve Colucci, and who's a longtime DPW employee.
Tom?
I will.
Is Jeff?
Oh, I'm sorry, Jeff.
I already forgot. Once you're
We
up,
had to
you're up.
wave. We had to wave, buddy.
It just went like this.
Well, it's really an honor to be here tonight to celebrate Peter. And as Bobby had outlined, he has done so much for the town that we had to use a very small font, so I have the glasses on, but it was great working with Peter and knowing Peter, and as a trusted advisor to me as I was entering the political realm. And, you know, three great boys who I've seen in the courtrooms, who I've seen in the television, I see everywhere around doing everything. You two raised a great family, and also enjoys seeing you so many times at the Rome. And you had so many people with you, it was difficult to find a table, but I think you'll have that problem again tonight. But from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, I have a citation here from the House of Representatives. I'll read it to you. It's, "Be it hereby known to all that the Massachusetts House of Representatives offers its sincerest congratulations to the Brunelli family in recognition of the wonderful life of Peter Brunelli, who for decades served the town of Franklin with honor and distinction. Over the years, he served on many boards, committees, and was involved in youth sports. Dedicated to his faith and family, his legacy of serving others through community service will live on forever. The entire membership extends its very best wishes and expresses the hope for future good fortune and continued success in all endeavors." Given this 18th day of December 2024 at the State House in Boston, Massachusetts, signed by Ronald Mariano, the Speaker of the House, and offered by myself, whose great honor it is to be the state representative for most of this family. I know you don't all live here in Franklin, but you're all welcome to come back. But I offer this to you in memory and in honor of your husband, dad, friend, brother, brother-in-law, you name it, but congratulations. Mom asked me to clarify. Seeing her children in court was on a professional basis. They were not in trouble. Okay? The record is clear.
Peter's laughing at that one.
I don't know if that's the right thing.
Thanks, Jeff. Okay, now it's a turn to bring Steve Colucci up.
You want me to go?
I have a large font and I still need my glasses. Steve. A proclamation honoring Steve Colucci on the occasion of his retirement from the Franklin Department of Public Works. Whereas water distribution foreperson Steve Colucci joined the Franklin Department of Public Works on August 21st, 1994, and after 30 years of dedicated service, retired on November 30th, 2024. And whereas Steve Colucci began his career in Franklin with the Highway Department until moving to the Water and Sewer Department as an L3 on April 30th, 2003. And whereas during his time working for the town of Franklin, Steve earned titles and leadership roles such as a licensed Grade 1 NEWEA collection system operator in 2003, water distribution crew leader in 2013, and ultimately was promoted to the position of water distribution foreperson in 2022. And whereas over the years, Steve has excelled at training the crew and other staff on the operation of the water system, even going as far as to make the town its own cutaway hydrant and valve to be used for training purposes. And whereas, through his commitment to the job, his crew, and all of the Public Works Department, Steve was known to be a reliable and dedicated individual who could always think outside the box by offering unique and creative solutions, and he excelled at managing tough projects that the DPW management would refer to as Colucci jobs. And whereas for 30 years, Steve Colucci was a valued member of the Franklin Department of Public Works, whose commitment and contributions are greatly appreciated, and he has wished many happy years with his family in his well-deserved retirement. Now therefore be it known that Steve Colucci is hereby commended and recognized by the Franklin Town Council for 30 years of dedicated service with the Franklin Department of Public Works, and congratulated on his retirement. Signed, Thomas D. Mercer, Chairman, Franklin Town Council. I think there's one other presentation that needs to be made. So,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Bruce Kennedy, Public Works Director. This is Doug Martin, the Water Superintendent. And the proclamation is spot on. Mr. Colucci's awesome department. We're lucky to have him through the years. One thing I would say, he is a great mentor to a lot of the folks that you see over here. He's been a trainer for the next generation that comes up. It's everything you could ask for an employee. This is very unique award that we give in our water department, because I think water is very critical in what we do. And this is Doug Martin. I'll tell you a little about it.
So, Steve, on behalf of the Water Department and the whole DPW, we'd like to present you with our coveted meter lamp. We don't give this out to everyone. Obviously, only those that show dedicated service to the Water Department. So thank you, Steve, for all you've done. Enjoy.
It's been an awesome journey, and I want to thank my wife being by my side on those 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning phone calls, these emergencies, snowstorms, water main breaks, sewer plugs, sewer stations going down, all hours of the day, and Christmas, New Year's, holidays, kids' birthdays, and I wasn't home. I was out working and had to get a job done. And she was there for me, you know. She understood the job. And I want to thank everybody I worked for. When I first started, it was a puzzle with many pieces missing. And when I left, all the pieces were in place. You got great management here. Everybody is doing an awesome job. Every once in a while, I see one of those pieces pop up, but management seems to find another new piece to put in there. And they've been doing a great job, and we have a great staff. Starts from the top and works all the way down to the bottom. And it's been an awesome journey, and I thank you very much for allowing me to work for the town of Franklin.
okay, we're going to take another 2-minute recess. I'm going to ask the council to leave our chair.
Recording stopped.
Thanks, Steve.
You're listening to 102.9 WFPRLP, Franklin Public Radio.
Kate, yep, Kate, Eric, everybody. Stevie, you That's okay.
Gonna go?
Everybody knows how good authentic. It looks like you just got out of work. There's nothing, that's what we want. See you around town.
They have
Are you have too many? Okay, all right. All right.
Yeah,
let him take that.
Yeah. It gives Kobe an extra
All right,
5
get a
minutes.
little closer, like we all like each other. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. See, raise your hand out. All right, I think we got it.
Thank you.
Carlucci job. I love that one. I love that.
Right.
Congratulations.
I said you can't say the rest.
I said, let's go to Debbie's.
Yes.
We're lucky to have him. We're lucky 30 years we have. We're very lucky.
We did.
But now, you know, let me tell you, it's not easy when you retire.
That's not bad,
What the hell are they gonna do without you?
Back in session here. It's Chris, you all set?
So now he's all yours. Enjoy.
Call the December 18th
Recording in
meeting
progress.
of the Franklin Town Council back to order.
We're getting together.
Yes, it is.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, you know.
Okay, okay.
Okay, next order of business is appointments. We have one this evening, Agricultural Commission, Benjamin Russo. Clerk will read the appointment.
The town administrator has recommended the appointment of Benjamin Russo to serve as a member of the Agricultural Commission with a term to expire on June 30th, 2026. A motion to ratify the appointment by the town administrator of Benjamin Russo to serve as a member of the Agricultural Commission.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion, Jamie?
Ben's fantastic, and we should just approve him quickly.
Any other questions or comments?
Can I just make a,
Sure.
thank you through the
Councilor
chair.
Hamblin.
Ben's a great farmer. He's the old exit 17 flower farm for anybody who wants to know. So he's great, and thanks to the town administrator for approving the appointment. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Hamblin. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, the vote will come on the motion to approve Benjamin Russo to the Agricultural Commission. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Welcome aboard. Okay, we have no public hearings. License transactions, we have our annual license renewals. And I'd ask the clerk to read the license renewals.
All establishments, this is the 2025 annual alcoholic beverages license renewal. All establishments but 5 have passed inspections by the building department, board of health, and fire department. We have noted those establishments as well as those establishments that have fees or taxes due to the town. This is a motion to approve the renewal of alcoholic beverages licenses listed on the attached 2025 Town of Franklin alcohol license renewal list for the year 2025 with the issuance of licenses that have inspections, fees, or taxes outstanding to be withheld, physically held in the town administrator's office until all items are resolved.
Second. Was he gonna read them all? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we have to read them.
Okay, sorry.
We don't have to read the addresses. You can just read the minutes.
Just the licensing name.
Licensing
Okay.
names.
The licensing name, yeah.
Okay, we have 660 Central LLC, 99 Restaurants of Boston LLC, ACT Hospitality Inc., Asha Deep Inc., Avocado Inc., Chang Shen Inc., Contractor and Sons Inc., Dean College, DeVita's Inc., Dharma Bhakti Corporation, Ferrara Imports Inc., Franklin Country Club Inc., Franklin Liquors Inc., Franklin Lodge 2136 BPOE Inc., Franklin Performing Arts Company Inc., Franklin Shed LLC, Glen Farmer Distillery LLC, Jai Ho Group Inc., JDJ Ichigo Ichi Inc., Jimmy D's LLC, Eltro King Street Cafe Inc., La Cantina Winery Company, Let's Eat Franklin LLC, Max Roast Beef and Breakfast Inc., Maplegate Country Club Inc., Marlboro Food Inc., More Max Beverages Corporation, Rise Wine Inc., Nep Ops Tea LLC, PH Franklin Inc., Proof Restaurant LLC, Rare Hospitality International Inc., Rome Restaurant Inc., Santa Fe Burrito Grill LLC, Shaw's Supermarkets Inc., Shikshapatri Corporation, Super HK LLC, Table and Vine Inc., Teddy Gallagher Pub LLC, The Chateau Restaurant of Franklin Inc., The Little Shop of Olive Oils Inc., TTN Thai Food Inc., Village Mall Liquors Inc., Windtop Acres Inc., and Zhu Jiang Inc.
Second.
Motion and a second.
Pretty
Discussion.
straightforward. No, I just want to thank Julie McCann in our office and Jared. They've been doing an unbelievable job with this. It just gets better and better every year. And the compliance among our businesses gets better and better every year. So we don't have to really hold a lot. And just want to thank the staff for a great job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I just have a quick question.
Councilor Chandler.
Through you to the town administrator, just quickly, because I don't think I've ever asked this question, but how long do you give them to take care of these outstanding issues?
Really as long as they need. I mean, I think all of these are liquor-based, right? So that's part of their, obviously their business. We find that, you know, pretty much every year by New Year's Eve, everybody's taking care of whatever they need. That's why I said earlier, I think in the last couple of years, we have not had to chase anyone down on New Year's Eve. When I first started here, when Jeff was here, Jeff and I were delivering some of them on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day or calling people and stuff like that. But I think our business community and our staff have just connected on this stuff and they stay on top of it. And a huge kudos to our inspectional staff too, Joe and Gus and Kathy and Ginny and all them. They start this months ago. I mean, they start this very early, they send letters, and so you get a lot of businesses to comply early on, but we really don't, we have very, very few problems anymore. It's really good.
Attorney Sorrell.
So according to the state law and regulation, each licensee has to physically have the license on their premises or they cannot be open for they can't be open to sell alcohol anyway. So they have to get it, that's why the push to get it done by New Year's Eve.
I figured that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Please, Kerry.
I just wanted to confirm, just based from the Treasurer Collector's Office, that everybody comes in before 12:31 and gets it done.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kerry.
You're welcome.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, the vote will come on the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next item on the agenda is presentation and discussion. The first one is National Citizen Survey, AKA Citizen Satisfaction Survey. Kate Hinckley, Director of GIS. Kate, welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. So I know we have a long agenda tonight. This is a very short presentation, just a few slides. This has been a goal of the town council for a few years to do a large-scale community survey, and we're getting ready for it. The town has partnered with Polco, who creates the National Community Survey. It's a comprehensive survey that goes out to residents. It is something that a lot of municipalities do. It's a very important tool for communities to use to gauge how their residents feel about the community that they live in. There are quite a number of communities in Massachusetts that have done this. I have them listed here just to give a smattering of the communities that have done it. It's Brookline, Shrewsbury, Needham, Ashland, Hopkinton, and Lexington. So some of our neighbors that are using this tool. The survey itself gauges residents' opinions on virtually every facet of life in town, ranging from public safety, how they feel their municipal government is functioning, the economy, their quality of life, transportation, education, environmental resources. It runs the whole gamut. The town is partnering with Polco. I do want to make it clear that funding for this is through ARPA. This is not coming out of anybody's budget. I just want to make that point very, very clear. It is funded through ARPA. Some of the details on the actual survey. This is going to go out to 5,000 households in Franklin. There are roughly 12,000 households, so that's a very large percentage. It's a lot of people that are going to see this survey. It's going to be, if you're an adult over 18, you're eligible to take it. The mailing list that this was generated from was based off of the United States Postal Service list. These are all randomly selected households. And the way that it is presented when somebody receives the survey is the person with the closest birthday, they call it the birthday method, is the individual they ask to fill out the survey. It's going to be very inclusive. It'll be translated in 5 languages: English, Haitian Creole, Mandarin, Hindi, and Spanish. As I mentioned before, it's a very, very comprehensive survey. I believe you all have the questions in your packet. If you take a look at it, it's very, very, very comprehensive. It goes the whole spectrum. We do have the opportunity to have an entire page of custom questions, which there's been a lot of collaboration between the various town departments to create custom questions. The initial set of questions that we have is that it's the National Community Survey. That's what it is. There's not any room to tweak or add or remove, which is why the custom questions really come into play. So why is this so important? We send out surveys all the time. I've sent out surveys for the Department of Public Works. We have surveys going out from conservation for the master plan. Why do we need this? What's different about this, we can only reach so much with pushing out on the website, social media. There are residents in town that are very civically minded and civically engaged, and that is wonderful. But when you send out surveys and it's the same group of civically minded residents that fill these out, you get just that. You get this group of citizens, and that's wonderful and that's important to have. It's also important to go out to the whole town and to really get a good sampling of residents, no matter where they live in town, no matter how engaged or unengaged they are, they're going to be mailed this survey. Now, if you're not lucky enough to receive your survey in the mail, there is an open participation option, which will open up for anybody to submit. I do want to make it clear, the data sets will be separate. So the data sets for the 5,000 residents, that is going to be one set of data. Folks that do the open participation survey, that will be a different set of data. I'm a data person. I'm very excited to see those 2 different data sets. I realize that not everybody might feel that way. We do have a website that we just posted, just a landing page on the DPW, or I'm sorry, I'm used to presenting for DPW. On the town website, there's a page with information. It will be updated as things move along, but the basic information is there. The link is on the bottom of the slide. Timeline of what we're looking at. The goal is for everything to go out January 8th to the 5,000 randomly selected households. What's going to happen first is they're going to get a postcard with a QR code that says, hey, you've been selected for this survey. Please go online and fill out the survey. If they opt not to do that, a hard copy will be mailed to them a week later with instructions, a prepaid envelope to return to the Polko processing center. February 5th is when the open participation begins. That will be online submission only. February 19th is when everything closes. One piece that I want to point out is that February 19th is the day that data collection stops, meaning if you have a paper survey, it has to be at their facility by February 19th, not postmarked, but it has to be received by then. The online submissions will be accepted through midnight on February 19th. About a month later, March 12th, is when the data is delivered. Our goal is to have extensive outreach on this so that folks know what it is, they know when it's coming. They are going to be notified multiple times about the open participation survey. We want to get as many folks that want to participate the ability to do that. The open participation is a small window, it's just 2 weeks. So we're gonna advertise heavily to make sure that we get as many folks as possible. The administrative team, Jared and Julie, have been wonderful. They've already got everything all put together. We have a schedule of events for pushing out information, so we're gonna be advertising very heavily. The custom questions, again, we had the opportunity to include a full page of tailored questions just for the town. Several months ago, all the department heads, municipal side and school side, were all notified that we have this opportunity, and they all worked very hard to develop a variety of additional questions. Most of the questions were developed by the school department. They have about a half page of questions, and the remainder were divided up amongst the other questions that were submitted by various departments. And those questions range from EMS services to media consumption, whether folks use the online permitting, lots of great questions. That's it in a nutshell, so if you have any questions for me.
Thank you, Kate. Jamie?
Just really quickly, a couple points. Thank you, Kate. That was a great presentation, and that's why you're managing the project, because you love data.
I do.
And this is going to be data overload. So we did fund this through a grant through the federal ARPA program, so there's no tax impact to the town of Franklin on this. I did do this when I was in another community, and it was really insightful to a lot of people about who you are, who you were, who you're going to be. And it really did chart public policy and public spending in ways that I think really help a community kind of define where those resources should go. The other thing is it's a lower common denominator demographic, the way this is worded. You don't really have to think, like, do you feel safe on your street? Do you feel safe in your community? Do you feel safe on your road? It's meant to be simplest, to try to get everybody to answer those based on their feelings. That's actually raw data that is very rarely calculated, and it's really, really powerful stuff at some point. I do want to give a shout out and thank you to the superintendent. We reached out to him a few months ago, gave it to their staff, they went through their team. It's questions 18 through 23 or so. The set questions unfortunately cannot be changed because they're the same across the board. And we did actually, as part of the grant, put in for a member of the staff from the company to come to Franklin, and they're going to present all of the data and then also do comparables among Massachusetts communities, and then how we rate across the country on some of these statistics. So that should also be an insightful night. That'll probably be in April or May or sometime around there. So we just wanted to make sure everybody was aware of all this. I'm sure you'll get a lot of phone calls or you'll get some contact about this. It's really actually quite a perfect time to do this in the beginning of 2025. It'll be the 5th anniversary of around COVID. And it's a great time with all of the issues that are going on in town. I want to thank Brian and the fire chief And even Steve Sherlock, and a bunch of people who engaged in some questions and some data in here. There's also a whole sheet in here on demographic data that we've never gotten before about median income, household size, and things like that. So we're really excited to put this out, and as Kate said, this has been a community goal now for it's been on your goals for 4, 5, or 6 years. And obviously we had to delay this from a lot of other work and from the pandemic, so we're really excited to get this out. And thanks for Kate's leadership and Julie and Jared in my office for helping out with the outreach. So happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Jamie. Councilor Sheridan.
Yeah, I'm just curious how you're gonna, I'd be worried about people not ignoring it.
Yeah.
Is it gonna come, is it gonna say it's from the town?
So our logo will be on it, so
Town logo.
they'll be aware.
The seal will actually
The-
be on
the
it.
seal, I'm sorry,
Okay.
yes, the seal,
Yeah.
the logo, correct.
It was up there.
Yeah.
Okay, so it looked like
The
it's from the
seal will be
town.
on it, yeah, so
Yeah.
it'll be very apparent that it's from
And
Franklin.
is the goal, like, we send up 5,000, is the goal that you have to make to have it be worthwhile to get back?
The goal, I would say, would be 100%.
Yeah,
We would
but
love
is there
that.
one that-
Their return is approximately 20%.
Okay.
Which, again, I'm a data person, when you're dealing with such a large, with 5,000, even just 500 responses is great.
So that's why you sent out so many to get
Right.
Yeah.
big response, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and that,
The standard is 3,000 they send out. We paid for an additional 2 to try to have that
Yeah.
reach get out there. And they did tell us, I think on the call, I think Massachusetts nationwide has one of the highest response rates.
yes, and the more outreach you do, the better.
Right.
Which, so we're going full tilt. So there's going to be a lot within 8 weeks. That
Okay.
8-week period, there's gonna be a lot of
Great,
outreach.
thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Sheridan. Councilor Hamblin?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Actually, Jamie answered the question I was gonna ask about, like, what are we gonna do with the data, or when are we gonna know about it? Because that's what I wanna know. I wanna see the data. So I look forward to that, and thank you, Kate. I know this has been on our list for a long time, so it's nice to have that done. I'm always like looking at the goals and making sure we get them done, so thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Hamblin. Councilor Frangillo?
Yeah, which questions were the additive and which were the original?
Yep, so on the.
Question
the first
13.
One is number 13, is the first Franklin department specific. So 13 through 21.
And did we work with them to craft the questions or improve the questions?
The custom questions or
Yeah,
the
the
standard?
custom.
Work with Polko?
Yeah.
They,
Is that part of the?
I mean, they helped with, do we want to do essential, very important, somewhat important versus agree, disagree? But the questions themselves it was a collaborative effort between the town departments.
And if you look at like question 17, for example, obviously you can see there's a format, throughout the whole survey to make it sure it's consistent. And when you get down to like a question like 17, you'll notice it's in the same format as some of the ones above. On like 12, they have a standard way. Otherwise, if you change a lot of the questions around, then you can't really compare apples to apples. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, question 17 is the one that stood out as just a poor question to ask in a public survey.
Which one? Sorry?
17.
Oh.
It's just not how, none of the other ones say like, what type of concrete is the best or concrete. They're much more, higher level, and this is one that I'm just worried about weirdly asking people to be planners halfway through a survey. That particular question, and then, I started to look at some of the other questions. I don't know. I would like to revisit or just double check with them. Hey, is this how we ask these questions? Do we have any other wording to ask these questions?
They have looked over the questions that we submitted, and there were some that they did reword slightly, just for clarity. Is it the question itself that you're just not?
Yeah, it's the only one where we ask people to like be planners themselves, be like electeds themselves, as opposed to like, how do you feel about this? Like, how does this aspect feel? We're not going out and saying like, how wide should your roads be? That's just like not a question. But anyway, so that just stood out. If it could be revisited, I'd like to be revisited. My other,
Just send me an email with what your thought is, and then, you know, we've got a couple days before we go back to POCO before they start printing, and we can just take your comments and I'll talk to POCO about them if you have a thought.
appreciate that. And then, yeah, this was already approved through ARPA funding.
Yep.
That was one of the rounds of ARPA funding. And it was high, right? Was it 40,000? I'm trying to remember.
It's about that, yeah, I think it was 43,000 for everything. And plus, we got a subscription to a website that we can go in and continue to stay on top of this, so we can go in and do more work within all the data that's within the POCO system. So it's not just a static thing that sits there for one time. You know, our goal, I mean, in some ways, you know, we'd want to look at this every 5 or 10 years and make sure that you're tracking it through. I think a lot of the other communities that do this try to continue on to see where that change is over a course of a decade and stuff like that. So, but again, we didn't pay for it. It was through federal ARPA money, so.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. I fully recognize the benefit of this. I used to run similar surveys. It's certainly helpful to understand where our citizens are at, the ability to have it be a scientific survey that's consistent across the country and can be done, repeated on a regular basis, and you know, is formally managed. That's all very exciting, and I'm a little worried that just door-to-door surveys are a little outdated. The limitations of this seem a little outdated, and the expense seems high for what I think are cheaper alternatives. So not to douse too much cold water on it, I'm very excited to get the results. I just wanted to get that piece off my chest. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Councilor Cormier-Ledger.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just two questions. Just for the public, do we know how long approximately would take the average user to finish the survey?
I've read through every question, and I would estimate 10 minutes.
Okay. I think that's important for people out there to know that this is not like the national census thing that comes that takes you an hour and a half to fill out, and you literally have to take a day off from work to fill it out. Like this is more like find 10 minutes to help your town out. And second, if people are uncomfortable with any of the personal data, like the money and that kind of stuff, is this one of those surveys where they can leave things blank and the survey will still count, or do they have to fill out the entire thing?
No, I believe they can fill out whatever they want.
They can fill out whatever.
Yeah, whatever they're comfortable with.
Okay, fantastic. Those were my questions. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor Cormier-Ledger. Any other questions? Councilor Chandler.
Through you. Hi, Kay.
Hi.
I just want to say I'm glad that it's not all about just the QR code, because I didn't want to leave out a certain group that would just be like, no, I'm not, or wouldn't know what to do. So, and you said what, if they don't respond, when would they get it? In the mail, actually. I know.
They'll get a postcard with a QR code as well as the URL, so they could type in the URL if they wanted to.
Okay.
And then a week later, if they have not submitted the online option, a week later the hard copy will be mailed.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Chandler. Councilor Plager.
Hi, Kate. I'm wondering, the results of this, who's going to get the results?
So they'll come to me and Jamie initially, and then it will be widely available we'll be posting everything online. So they'll have a report, like a physical report that we can print out and send out. And then they'll come and do a presentation we haven't set the date yet, but April, May, to do a presentation here as well, to go over the information. Because I will say, I mean, data you can look at data a million different ways. And having someone from POCO come to break down all of the trends and how we compare will be very beneficial. But the report will be available.
And will it go to different departments that have anything to do with these questions?
It'll be available, to all town staff, yeah.
But I mean, will you be asking the different departments to look into the questions that are related to their department and see what they feel about it?
They've reviewed all of this for a few months.
But now with the results coming in, saying, will they be
Oh, yeah, of course.
yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
We'll
yes.
probably have a department heads meeting about it. We'll send it around, we'll send the report around to everybody. They're gonna pour through the data. I can guarantee you every department's gonna look at it from their perspective.
Right.
Absolutely. I mean, this is gonna be widely publicized, and I think it'll be widely available to everybody that wants it. And they'll certainly look at it in a lot of different ways, and it'll be very insightful for everyone.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, thank you, Kate.
Thank you, Councilor Pelletier. Councilor DeLorco.
Thank you. Thanks, Kate. I'm counting, you're gonna send 5,000 out, and if you get 500 back, you'd be happy?
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense to me that it's gonna do anything.
I'm hopeful we get much more than
We'll get more than
500.
500.
I think we'll get a lot.
She's saying that from a
data perspective.
From a data junkie and from somebody, if you get a 10% return on a lot of surveys,
Oh, yeah,
that's an
most
enormously high number.
Most
Yeah.
people throw them away. I throw them away.
But-
I don't do it.
Right.
Don't throw this one away if you get it.
Well, then you should fill out surveys. No, but a lot of people,
Work 2 jobs. You think I got time to fill this out?
well,
You know?
you know, this is trying to give a smell test of how the quality of life metrics are in your community. It's fairly insightful.
Yeah.
Well, it's okay, we don't all have to agree, but I think we want to encourage everyone that does receive it to fill it out, because the more data and the best data that we
I
have
agree.
from everyone in the community, the more we can accurately, as a council and a public entity, be able to address their concerns. So, you know, we may find in here some stuff that we already know, and we're probably gonna get a lot of information of things we don't know. And I think it'll help support a lot of the work all of you are doing, and it'll give a good idea of where people stand in the community right now in terms of their general overall feeling for the town.
Thank you. All set?
Yeah.
Okay, Kate, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we look forward to
Results.
data coming in
Yes.
and results coming in.
Yes, I'll be watching live as they come in.
I bet you will.
I will.
Okay, next discussion item is biennial town council, town administrator midterm goals review. Jamie.
Well, number one, I know my memo may, you know, shock a few people a little bit, because the goals on here, on the one hand, I'm asking the council, and again, the council does not have to agree, to eliminate or amend some of these goals just because of the fact that there won't be a lot of financing or bandwidth really associated with this. For example, water tank and water main analysis, all of that requires water rates to go up. If y'all want to do a huge water rate increase, we can do this stuff. But I know that cost of living, and I know that some of these issues in town, plus the override, the school financing can be troublesome. But I would say, outside of the amendments that we're proposing to the goals list, if everybody reads the actual list of updates of the goals, we are far ahead of schedule. The vast majority of these goals have already gotten done. It is a reflection point, both for myself, the department heads, all of you, the staff, on all of the incredible amount of work that we're doing. The team is providing services at an exceptional level. We did include at the end here other accomplishments that were not on the goals. There's a whole nother page of those, of things that we didn't set out at the beginning of the year that we ended up doing, like the SNEP purchase, the HERO Act, you know, the abatements for seniors, the rezoning of the mill store property. I mean, I could go on and on, but I guess I would leave it up to you, Mr. Chairman. I think as I relay in the memo, you know, the reality is that some of these goals, we're either gonna have to find the money to do it, or else we're not gonna achieve them. And a lot of these financial issues come from things like, again, water rate increase, which would be pretty substantial to try to do more water main work and the water tank analysis. The same thing, you know, I know many people have lobbied for many years for sidewalks and more infrastructure money. We are gonna have another public presentation in January. We had one last year on DPW infrastructure finance. But I also know 4 of the 9 of you were at the Joint Budget Subcommittee last night, and we're looking at a structural budget deficit. At some point, I think us as a community, a council, and staff have to be judicious. We just can't do it all. The cost of living in this state is through the roof, and it's very clear to me that there's a lot of families that are struggling, and there's a lot of families that are just at a tipping point and just tired of more. We all want to do that. We know what we should do. But there's also a staff bandwidth issue with time. As the Joint Budget Subcommittee went through last night, we set up 5 or 6 listening sessions in a winter. I will tell you from my standpoint, my entire life will be revolving around budget meetings, collective bargaining, evening meetings, budget listening sessions. I mean, I will be working on the budget almost 80% of my time, Monday through Sunday, throughout the next 5 or 6 months. To accomplish things like the Charter Commission, that takes a ballot question. It's just some of these items on here are just going to be very expensive and very time consuming. And I just put it out there for all of you to consider. Maybe we need to discuss maybe reducing some of those goals. And if we're not going to finance them, then we should get rid of them, because we should not give people the sense that we can do all of this when we financially just can't. And so we added some goals on here. This list is stuff that has not been started, okay? And predominantly because of finance, but also just staff time. We haven't gotten to some of these yet to start them. If you look in the goals packet, every other goal has been progressing along very, very well. And we shouldn't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. I know we all want these goals that are on here, and we can leave them if that's what the council wants to do. That's okay. You just not enact the legislation. But, you know, I also have to bring this forward and say these are probably financially not going to be able to be done this year. But I wanted to make sure everybody's aware when you look at this list. You know, I personally get some goosebumps. We had a great podcast this week on Steve Sherlock's show. Amy and I gave some updates on a bunch of projects, things that are on the goals, things aren't. And despite all of the difficulty in 2024 and challenges that we've all faced, I think we should all remain incredibly proud, incredibly happy at the progress that we have made, because this council, this staff, the school committee, which isn't even on here, they have their own goals. You know, we've really done an amazing job and really gone very far ahead. So happy to answer any questions folks have on any of the progress of any of the goals.
Jamie, I guess my only comment would be where we've listed these goals at the start of this 2-year session. I guess I myself wouldn't be in favor of taking them off, but identifying them on the list as not attainable for this reason.
We could do that. Absolutely.
And that way, the list remains as things we're trying to do, but we're unable to do for this reason or that reason. And that's something we could put on, get that list together and...
Or, Mr. Chairman, I can just literally do that on the list and just write it out, basically take the comments in my memo and just say not attainable due to financial restraints this year.
I myself think that would be a better approach.
Absolutely.
I totally agree.
Yep, I'm good.
Looking across the council, I think everybody kind of agrees that that's
2 thumbs up.
a better way to do it.
Good.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Councilor Cormier-Ledger.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know where my brain is going here, Jamie.
Top of the list, Ed.
No, Ed, I fully appreciate that we have no money, and I fully appreciate that it takes a lot of time and bandwidth and all that jazz. But I know from talking to Brutus that some sidewalk study was already done in 2024, because he called me with some of the results. So I guess that's just where I'm looking for some clarification. So we paid for one study, but we aren't able to maybe make the results a reality? Is that the challenge?
That's exactly it. If you look at the goal, it's I think on page 2 of the goals, develop a sidewalk master plan. Staff have completed a condition and maintenance audit of all town sidewalks, so that's complete. But really the challenge is implementing a lot of that due to financing, just simply, because a new sidewalk is $1.5 million per mile.
Right.
But even maintenance of sidewalks, as we've all talked about, can really, to make a dent in what we want to try to do, will still take, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars.
I would just want to make sure that because we did a study and we paid for it, that somehow that data and those results just not get shelved, that it can somehow be still put into a priority list, so when the magic wand happens and we can find the money, that those we can start pecking away at those sidewalks that study found. Because in particular, the communities that rated really, really poorly throughout Franklin that he shared with me, I think those are the ones that need the priority attention first when we have the money.
And that's exactly what we do. You nailed it. And I would say the same thing about the 5-year water main plan, which was something we've always done every 5 years for decades, and the water tank analysis, those in the sidewalk, those are all done. And the road conditions report is done. So those reports don't go away. And hopefully this winter we'll have another discussion with the DPW about this issue on financing for infrastructure. And those plans will stay there. The condition of those sidewalks will still be in that priority list. And, if we can still apply for grants, if there's Mass Works, if there's other things, we're still gonna look for them. But when we do get there, absolutely. Those aren't just stuck on a shelf, those are live. But obviously, to do that would probably require some financial authorization from the council at some point. So you'll know when, as you put it, I think when we magically find money, or however you put it, we'll be back to you guys to figure that out.
I just agree with Mr. Chairman that if it's removed, then it's out of sight, out of mind. But if it stays on there, at least it's in front of us for future discussion. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor Comey-Ledger. Any other councilors? Councilor DeLocco.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to kind of back up Jamie a little bit about how the money issue is. Just to give you a hint, just before I came to the meeting tonight, I got a call from my insurance company saying that to do my house, to rebuild my house, my insurance just went up another $100 a month. So just to show you, I'm just saying that it's financially hard for a lot of people. I mean, $100 is $100, but I mean.
It's $1,200 a year.
That's $1,200 a year, so it went from, it's $300,000 more to rebuild my house if something happens. I mean, that's what people are facing. So I just wanted to back you up on that, Jamie.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilor DeLocco. Any other councilors? Councilor Frangillo.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate us taking the approach where we're still documenting. But I think they were, I get skeptical anytime we provide goals and then say, oh, why don't we just take the goals off the list? I will say, I think they were very reasonable ones that were called out in terms of things that were hard to get to funding-wise. I think it was fair to be transparent about those. I appreciate the amendment on the climate leader community. I thought that language was perfectly fine, and I'm glad to see that we're applying for a state grant that'll help us. I mean, getting someone paid for in place will then help us, start to look at the other things and recognize that we have limited bandwidth as is. I came in hoping to add one. I recognize that is, all difficult. I think it's a no-cost thing, although staff bandwidth, but it's also a different staff. It's been 4 years now of every time the tax classification, tax rate hearing comes around, we don't have full transparency on the tax classification or tax exemption options. I don't know, I would personally be in favor of amending to add presentation on the revenue and taxpayer impacts of the residential, senior means, and small business exemptions to this list. And you can even say, as added halfway through. If we don't feel comfortable, I would like some support for that happening. We have a year to prepare for really the assessors to just have a few extra slides on what would it look like if we implemented these and where have they been done. I would feel comfortable adding that to the list, but I defer to the committee.
We've asked I think we've made it clear to the assessors now, at least this year, that they should be looking into this. I think that's something that we can manage off the goals. We're happy to talk to Kevin. And, as Evan continues he's been here 5 months, as he continues to get marinated in the organization, I'm happy to ask Kerry and Kevin, Kevin and Evan, KKE, to just try to get the Board of Assessors with a dialogue about this, right? And maybe one of their public meetings,
Yeah.
maybe to do some comparable research.
Yeah.
That's free.
Yeah.
You know, it's a staff capacity, but I can ask them to do that now. Carrie's in the back nodding, as the manager of all these departments, that we can try to do something like that. I just note that the next tax rate hearing will be after the next election, but I think at least, you know, because we can at least get ready to try to have them look into this a little bit more. And I think we kind of committed to that, but if this helps calcify that request a little more, I'm happy to do that with the staff.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I agree. Anything else?
No, that was it. Yeah, well, when we get into reading this, I have some questions.
Okay. Anybody else? Any other questions? Okay. Seeing none, we'll move to legislation for action. Action item 9A, which is the adoption of the Town Council 24-25 goals. Clerk will read the resolution.
Yeah, so happy to read this, but I also, is it as amended to change those to?
The only reason why I added on is legislation. If you considered to remove them, that would have
That's the
taken a
thing,
vote.
we might not need legislation.
But you don't really need a vote because you're keeping the goals. I'm just gonna fill in the status update is exactly as you had mentioned before, Mr. Chairman. So I'll just amend the document and I'll republish it so everybody has it with the update, and that'll be that.
As we have a resolution on the agenda, do we need to act on it?
No.
We don't.
You could
I just want to
table it.
make
That's a good
sure
idea.
we-
You just make a motion to table it and
Die.
it'll be there in the record.
Right.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to table resolution 24-78.
Second.
Motion and second. Discussion on the motion. Seeing none, the vote will come on the motion to table resolution 24-78. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, next item, town seal and logo presentation. Amy.
You can sit.
Gonna hand out, hand out for everyone.
You get better printer and better paper than us.
I used the good paper.
Yeah.
Thank you, Amy.
All right, hello everyone. I'm here with AJ Rebecki tonight, who's our designer for this project. We are very, very excited to present the town council with a recommended logo and tagline for your consideration. Our new website will be launched on January 7th, 2025, and we hope to incorporate the new logo into this design if it is approved. At the last meeting of the EDC, they voted unanimously to recommend the design you'll see tonight to the council. We undertook this project because it is a goal of the town council, and we had been asked to undertake this marketing and branding campaign. This project was initiated several years ago, to my understanding, before I was here, and I was able to pick it up last spring, and we've been working on this design for the last 5 to 6 months. AJ's gone through several rounds and meetings, and there's been much opportunity for the public to comment and provide feedback, including a townwide survey that we did, and we did receive over 500 responses to that survey. The town branding project, I just want to remind everyone, is being funded through a $50,000 state economic development earmark, and it cannot be used for any other purposes other than this branding and marketing. We were able to save approximately $20,000 during this process, so we're hoping to use that funding to train staff on how to use the brand guidelines once they're established, as well as some small implementation. And then there won't be a cost to implementation to the town, because we'll just, as we get new vehicles and whatnot, we'll just add that new logo onto those items as we normally would. It would just be a different design than the design we're currently using. As I've said in other meetings, our brand is very inconsistent. We have different departments using different seals, creating their own logos. So really, this imagery will allow our departments to have clear and consistent branding. We'll streamline all of our systems. We'll create consistency. It really does provide professionalism to the town, and we're just really excited about it. And I'm gonna hand it over to AJ to give a presentation. I also want to just mention, because I know a lot of people have asked, we're not getting rid of the seal in any way. We're creating a logo in addition to the seal. For this project, really all we're doing is just cleaning up the seal, because when you shrink it down to a business card or on just a smaller image, it really becomes grainy and really hard to see. So AJ will show you, we just kind of took out some of the lines within the seal, but it will still adhere to the parameters set forth of the town meeting action in 1900, when the seal was actually put forth in town. So we'll still be using that for official documents. So.
Cool. Thank you, everybody. Let's get into it. So as Amy said, this whole idea of this project is not rebranding Franklin, right? It's just crafting a clear representation of what the town already is. And as Amy said, it's providing consistent communication from any town department, efficiency across all departments, and being equitable across all town departments, and having a similar look and feel, whether that's Parks and Rec or DPW. And then pride and acknowledgement. A new look and a new logo, it sparks life, especially with a new website coming out. Bringing some new, fresh perspective is really nice and makes people feel really good about the place they live. As Amy said, the deliverables were two things. A, it was a tagline and logo, and two was bringing Ben's seal into the 21st century by digitizing it and making it a little bit easier to see. The process. As Amy said, there was an audit that was conducted, and from the audit you can see that every department kind of has a different way of representing themselves, not only in logo, but the way that the business cards are laid out, the way the letterheads are done, the way the memos are. And it's just overall just inconsistent from a public perspective of what this might look like, right? If you got a memo or a business card from one department and then it looks different from another one's, it kind of adds a little skepticism. We also looked at some other Franklins around the country, and you can see they all follow a similar thing. It's either Ben or a building, and there's not a lot of emotion or a lot of values that go into these. They're very cut and dry. Not to mention a lot of them are still seals and not logos, and really hard to see even if you squint your eyes. We also took a look at the current seal, right? There's a few issues with it, right? There's a hierarchy issue where there's different line weights and there's dots and multiple lines. The type is all the same size across the whole thing. It only comes in a circle with no additional variations, so that's all we get is a circle. There's too many different versions. There's one on the screen, there's an oil painting version, there's one on some of the wood signs outside. When Ben gets smaller or embroidered, you lose his detail. You can't tell it's Ben. When the DPW folks were here and I was looking at their shirt, you can't see what the thing is that's on the breast pocket of their jackets. And most importantly, this isn't a logo. Folks, seals have been around for thousands of years, whether they were from a country or from a house or a family, right? They were never meant to be part of the digital age. So it's really hard for these to have different applications across signage and paper and your phone. And a good example of this, because I feel like the first time we all met, I didn't really do a good job explaining this. The city of Boston in 2017 did this exact same exercise. They said, how can we use a logo that's on marketing materials, but also bring our original seal from, I think theirs was like 18-something or 16-something,
1630.
into a more modern way. So if you were to use it on the flag or on a piece of legal document, you could easily tell that it's from the city of Boston. So it's digitizing the original seal, but then also providing a marketing logo that can be used on all other materials. Building this logo, we did a few things. We wanted to make sure that we, like Amy said, got public survey, over 500 respondents. We talked to department heads to get their perspective. And I also did what we call a social media scrape, which is just a fancy word of using a program to go through the Friends of Franklin Facebook group and find common themes that happen to be on that channel. There's not a lot of happiness there, but we found some. And we looked at 4 things, right? What makes Franklin special? What does Franklin do better? What's important to Franklin's future? And then any open suggestions. And these were the 4 things. Safety. Public safety in a secure environment to protect this close-knit community. Keeping it green is continued respect for our parks and open spaces. Maintaining and improving the quality of schools and educational resources. And then our storied history. So Horace Mann's impact on education, home to the nation's first public library, and of course Ben's book. And these are a lot of the talking points that this council put together when you were talking about how you are going to make an impact on this town. Like, these are themes that are core to Franklin and what make it really special. So, the first thing was a tagline. I developed this tagline, which is the first of many. And there's a couple different layers there, right? It's the first town named after Ben. It's the first public library and the birthplace of education. It references our leading safety in schools, and it's forward-looking. It's unrelenting in the pursuit of being great, why we're all here and why we love doing business here and living here. I created original 3 concepts, and through the council suggestions, the EDC, emails that Amy got, conversations, it was clear that this kind of shield motif was something that people resonated with. So for the last few months, we've been really honing this down to make sure that this is a really good representation of who we are. So this is the Town of Franklin logo. It encompasses a few things, all things that we just talked about. A book at the base talks about our passion for education here. The tree in the middle, again, our respect for open spaces. The shield shape represents this idea of safety and security here. And then making sure that we didn't lose any of that history aspect. I leaned into some of the architecture in both the library and the high school to bring a little bit of nostalgia and history to the mark itself. Now, a big piece of feedback that we got as we worked through this is how do you blend the old and new, right? Like, how do you represent the great past but also look forward, to what's on the horizon? And type really does as well. So you can see that there's this bold sans serif font that's really modern and strong. And then when you pair it with like that, italicized of that like heritage kind of look, it just gives us really a well-rounded, do no harm logo that I think really represents the town well. So we go from a whole bunch of different departments, talking about themselves and presenting themselves in one way, to a really streamlined logo system that no matter what department, right, everyone has their place with this system. Now, another important thing that we talked about was how do we make sure that whether it's the back of a truck or on the side of a building or a small avatar on the Facebook page, how does it all work together? So in front of you, I developed this kind of logo system that has 15 different variations and lockups, no matter if it's embroidered, has to be on the pocket, has to be on the side of a truck or on a plow. There is no room for error, and there will always be a variation that fits the need that we have. So maybe that's on a T for a DPW worker, or maybe that's how it looks when it's on the official town Facebook page. Or if it was a backlit sign in the lobby or outside town hall, embroidered on a sweatshirt, or if the building inspections department need new hard hats. Updated letterheads and business cards. Embroidered or patched on a shirt, or maybe how it shows up on a post for social media. This is what I do for a living, and being a citizen here and living here was hard for me because I wanted to make sure that every avenue of this was covered because I know how important it is. So you can see that in every situation, we try to have some sort of way this logo can come to life and work no matter the case. Or how does it look like wrapped on a car? Now, here's the most important part of this, is that you can still see good old Ben and his seal on the side of the car, right? As Amy said, we're not replacing the seal with a logo. We're creating a system of not if that or this, it's when and how. Part of this is figuring out when are these things used separately, when are they used together, and most importantly, they can exist in the same world to reinforce the fact that when you get a letter or you see a truck, you know it's from the town and you know what they're doing. Last but not least, so part of this was digitizing Ben. So this is the current seal that we have. It's probably based on a woodcut or a lino cut from a very long time ago, and as you can see, there's a lot of details. So, part of this, of digitizing the seal and making it a little bit easier to see whether it's on, an official town document or maybe on an envelope, was just getting rid of some of the unnecessary details, cleaning it up a bit, and making sure that it was easy to comprehend, whether it's a big size or a small size or somewhere in between. So now we have an updated seal. We have a new town logo, and then on the right, I wanted to show what it looked like next to the Franklin Athletics to kind of give a well-rounded representation of all the different, ways that this town can be shown and experienced by the people who live here and work here. Next steps. Part of this project is putting together a comprehensive brand guidelines. I'm showing you just 5 pages of the 92-page book I put together for Wayfair, and this gives us all the playbook to make sure that when department heads or power users or someone tries to make something, whether that's a business card, an Instagram post, or wrap a truck, they have all the necessary details and restrictions they need to do it right so that everyone's doing it the correct way. Additionally, I'll be creating templates for both Canva and professional use, and conducting a training with department heads and power users on how to navigate the brand guidelines and, most importantly, bring this logo and the updated seal to life. Again, it was a pleasure to work on this project. I'm really proud of what we came up with. Amy, Melanie, Corey, everyone was fantastic, and I thank you all for your time tonight.
Thank you, AJ. Thanks, Amy. Okay, questions from the council. Councilor Hamlin is looking at me like I want to go.
I don't really have any questions. I just wanted to make a really long statement, but I'll try to keep it as brief as possible. You should have seen his face. That was really funny. I just want to reiterate what Amy said. This was on the town council goals. It's there so that we save time, money, and effort by creating consistency and unity, and to drive economic development by differentiating our Franklin, which is the first of many, from all the others, right? So that's how that works. I just want to thank Amy, Corey, Brian for the selection committee, of course, AJ. But you know, there are a lot of other people that we need to thank in this, because it's been going on for a really long time. And unfortunately, Councilor Jones is not here tonight, but I've spent years, meetings and meetings and years sitting next to him when he complains about how inconsistent the seal is on all of the documents that are put in front of him, right? Then we have to thank Councilor Chandler for saying, hey, here's a really good idea. Why don't we create signs so that all the people, all the customers from the, the workers from the industrial park know how to get to where our restaurants are in Franklin. Well, like, how do you do that? We have to figure this out. How do we go back? Well, Jamie made us go back, right? So thank you, Jamie, for making us go back. It is gonna be long, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. But these things have to be said, right? How do we go back to the process? Well, Jamie, when Julie Jacobson came, she started, she set up, and Lily Rivera, I'm sure you guys all remember her. They set the direction, the timeline, and they collected the inventory of all the inconsistent and confusing seals and department logos. So all these logos were created because everybody knows that they want to have a logo that says who they are, but nothing existed. And so people had to go create those and waste time to do all that kind of stuff. We have to thank Councilor Sheridan and Councilor Frangillo as well, because they helped a lot with this project and pushing it through. Okay, but we have to thank our state legislators and Governor Baker, right, for understanding the importance of a cohesive, unified organization and the power of the logo to energize economic development. And why did the governor give us the money out of everyone else? Is because he believed in us, right? He believed that Franklin could make it work, that we could succeed. He knew that we understood what this project could do for us. And this is why we got the money to do it. Let's not forget our incredible Franklin resident and designer, AJ Rebecki. He took all the feedback, like this is like crazy, right? Survey, information, all the emails, everything the EDC has said, everything the town council has said. And he did what someone said in the survey, which I paraphrased this because I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was something like, you have to find the mix between open space, new growth, history, future, all of the things that divide everybody. You have to put it together to find the commonalities of our town. Good luck. But I believe that AJ did that. And we are really lucky to be here at this moment. Like, this is really, really super, and I think we should really celebrate it. So thank you, AJ. And thank you, everyone, for listening to me. I just had to get that off of my chest, like Councilor Frangillo did before. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Cormier-Ledger.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and through you, and thank you for the presentation. I love the tagline. I love the cleanup work. As an artist myself, I think you nailed it. My question on the seal, though, because in our packets you put option A, option B, option C, and I happen to like option C better because I think Ben Franklin's better represented with his glasses on. I think not just because I wear them, but I do think if you look at historical documents and historical representation of him as a figure, he's wearing his bifocals. So I just wonder if, because I didn't see that in your final, so is that possible for discussion, or have you guys already decided that something else was better suited?
So we thought that in adding the glasses, that would be a significant change to the seal. And so we really talked to the EDC about it and just really wanted to do a cleanup, because that was what we had asked AJ to do, and not really change any, features, which would be the glasses. I think the EDC liked the glasses one as well, but we think that may require a bylaw change, and we really didn't want to take this project that far. So our recommendation was just to do a cleanup. in the future, maybe we want to consider that, but I think we thought that might really not adhere to what we had found in town meeting action in 1900. It doesn't say anything about glasses or no glasses, it just said the head of Ben Franklin with the industry need not wish, with the date, and we felt like that the seal that AJ presented still had all those things, but the glasses maybe was taking it a little too far, where there might be arguments within the community saying that wasn't what was agreed upon.
I think given all of the things our community argues about, that would probably be at the very bottom of the list. However, I can respect the fact that I certainly don't want a bylaw change about him wearing bifocals. I just thought, as a historical figure, that is more of an accurate representation of him. But if we need to keep it, it's nice and clean. He just doesn't look to me, he doesn't look any different than like George Washington or half of the other white long-haired dudes from the time. He just doesn't. But when you go look through textbooks and you look at historical documents, you can tell, oh, that's Ben, because he's got his glasses on, right? Or sometimes he's shown with the kite as a cheesy thing with the key, right? But if it's impossible to change right now, fine. I just thought we're in this process and go big or go home, but if it can't be done, it can't be done. So thank you for all your hard work on this. I like the cleaned up version of the logo because I do think it's modern and it takes into consideration education and conservation and security and strength and all the things you talked about that make Franklin great. It's a very creative way to take tough, intangible concepts and make it into something. And I know that that's not easy to do. And I think with some explanation, the community will understand why we came to this. So thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor Cormier-Ledger. Any other councilors? Councilor Pellegrini.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for your presentation this evening. Listened to it the last time, and I still haven't changed my mind. I don't understand why we're doing this. That's my first question. Why are we doing this?
We're doing this because the town council asked us to do it. It's
Okay.
part of the goals, so Jamie tasked me with, going through this branding and marketing exercise so that we can satisfy the town council goals.
I don't remember that coming, Tommy.
Yes. It
Well,
was
explain it to me, what was said?
that we wanted to do a branding for a new branding for the town. That's been on our goals list for 4 years, 4 terms,
I think it's
All right,
been
4 years.
two or three terms.
2 or 3 2-year terms. If you go back, you'll see it on all 3.
I will definitely
Okay.
go back because.
Yeah, it's a new brand. It was to develop a new branding, and
Okay.
we
And
just
why?
never had the money to do it.
Right, that's right.
So we were able to get them earmarked, and then I will also say, we're doing it because our departments, really are looking for us to streamline processes for them, so they don't have to be brand designers themselves, so that we can really, we can put these templates in Canva and on our Google Drive, and it's easy for them to say, okay, I need letterhead, here it is right here. I don't have to create my own letterhead. I can just go and I know that it's right here, and we can, so that they all look professional and they're all doing the same thing when, they're doing business cards or letterhead or whatever it may be that they're putting forth to the public.
We should have been doing this all along. We shouldn't have allowed the departments to use whatever they wanted on their letterhead. We should have been using the seal, which we've always done for years. I mean, I've been involved with this for 40 years. We've always used the seal. And people would see the letter, and they would see Ben Franklin, and they'd see Town of Franklin on it. To me, to see any of this brand, I really would have to stop and think, what is that?
Yeah, nobody's gonna know.
It doesn't hit me. It really, really doesn't. I want to see the seal be used instead of branding. And I don't know about the goals back then. Perhaps they didn't use the right word to say branding. I think of branding as, I'll bring up Yellowstone, the show. They're branding their building, they're branding their animals and all. Well, we don't have to brand.
I watched it too, so I
Only
can.
names,
Oh, yeah.
never comes out.
I didn't see the show yet.
Debbie, do you have a Y right here?
I don't like the word branding, I really don't. I like what we have, all right? And yes, I'm a Leo, and I don't like change, and I'll be perfectly honest. But why change something just to change it? I'd rather see all the departments be told, not asked, or think about it, or whatever. This is what we're going to use. We're going to use the seal on our letterhead, on our business cards, and this is not the seal. Stop and think of your own houses. I have many pictures in my house. No two are alike. Someone said at the last meeting, well, take a look at that one. It's different than the seal. Yeah, it is different than the seal because that's just a picture of Ben Franklin. Okay? And there's many different pictures. But our seal has been approved and all through the state. We've had this for, you said till 1900. I thought it was before that, that we had a seal. But that's okay. That's regardless. I want to see the seal stay just the way it is. We made coins, we made keychains and everything. We developed a seal that is not part of the town seal, but it's got everything on it. And I should have brought it in tonight so you can see we did this for our anniversary. And we did it separate from all of this. Nothing to do with a change of the seal. So I may come back and have something else to say, but I am so opposed to this. I don't mean to be insulting, and I said this the last time. This could be very well for another town. I just don't want to see the change here in Franklin. It's not necessary. It isn't necessary. I want to see a truck go by it, and you know what? I've been watching them lately from different towns. They don't have any of this branding that I've noticed. I see seals, and in fact, I was at the Cape just the other day, and I went and kind of looked at different trucks, town trucks and all that, and I don't see branding. I see their town seal, and I could look at it and say, oh my goodness, that's the town of Harwich, that's this, that's, and you can't do that when you see this seal here. And to be consistent, what are you saying? These are going to be on the trucks?
So it depends on what side, you know, where you're gonna be putting it. Like a truck versus letterhead, those are all, they're called lockups, and it depends on the size of what you're putting it on.
Yeah.
Which one will go where. And that will all be a part of the brand guidelines. So when we give a truck to Jay at the DPW, he knows, you know, what to put on it because it's in the guidelines.
And doesn't he know now that he has to put the seal of the town on it?
Well,
and say DPW? I think they say DPW, I'm not really sure.
Yeah, well, they're all different now. So some have the department's name. So I think that's really, it's streamlining all of those. And then with our, you know, anniversary coming up and with the World Cup coming up, we thought it was a really good opportunity to kind of showcase Franklin and have a new logo that we can put on our banners and stuff like that. And really, you know, showcase not just people in Franklin, but outside of Franklin into the world, everything that Franklin has to offer, and do that with our new website and a new logo. Because it's hard to put that seal, as AJ was speaking to, on things like the, you know, the banners, the flags on the light poles and things like that. Because it just doesn't resonate in like a smaller format.
But they are on those banners uptown.
Yeah, well, they don't really come out crisp, they're not clear.
And so what are you saying? This is what you would want to put on there?
You put different, yeah, like something like that.
No. Oh, my goodness. All right, I'm going to pass it on, and then I'm going to do some more thinking.
Councilor DeLarco.
Thank you. Well, might find this shocking, but I do agree with Councilor Pellegrini. There's nobody in town that's gonna say, oh, that's open space, oh, that's a library. They might say that that's education because it is a book. I'll agree with that, but you can go outside now, we'll walk down the street right now. Nobody's gonna know what that is. And if you're on the side of a truck, you know how I know that's the side of the truck? Because it says Town of Franklin. That's how I know it's on the truck. I think it's a waste of time and a waste of money. I really do. Because we had labor, we got Amy working on that. Is her paycheck being funded by that, or is labor's labor?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
She's working with him on the logo.
Yeah.
We're paying her.
Right.
Is that coming out of the grant?
No.
No. So don't tell me that we're not paying money.
Can I just quickly?
Jamie?
Thank you. So, just to be clear, tonight there's a vote on one thing, that. Okay? That's all the vote is tonight. So I just want to focus everybody back on the vote. We understand there's going to be disagreement in the community on these issues. That's always going to be the case, and we respect everybody's opinions on it. I would say that for in the illustration of time, the vote tonight that's before you is just on this logo, and obviously how we implement that is a discussion for a later day. I think what you're likely to see on some of the examples that AJ did up there, some of the low-hanging fruit are things like letterhead, business cards, consistency. I can tell you that our employees are confused a lot about what logo, it doesn't come out well on the shirts for the seal and stuff of that sort. How we use them can be a conversation after tonight in the brand guideline. But at the end of the day, I fully understand too that some people, the goal has been on the goal for 6 years. We had to get financing for it. Julie Jacobson helped lay this out for us. Whether, I understand some people don't like it, but other people do. And so at some point, we have to come to some sort of understanding of how this is going to get implemented in some ways. It's okay to have disagreement on these issues. These are things that go on in a lot of other communities. Right. There are a lot of other communities that do this. But I just want to make sure everybody's clear tonight. We're not voting on how to use it. We're not voting on what to stick it on cars. We're not voting on what on the side of trucks. We're not doing. This is the only vote right here tonight is really on that logo right there and whether the Town of Franklin Council believes that's the logo we want to use or not. Okay. How we implement it after is going to take a long time. This is not going to happen next week. This is going to take a tremendous amount of coordination. And if the council wants, we can slow down the implementation of this. To Councilor DeLorco's, comments about what's appropriate on the side of the trucks. The side of the truck is going to say Town of Franklin, Massachusetts. Right. It's just given some contextual examples of what those things may look like. He's not putting up there, that's the truck, and there's going to be the big thing on the side. He's just giving some examples. So I just think for tonight, I think the council should just take action on whether that's the logo or whether they want to table this and go back to the drawing board on the logo. Thank you.
Okay, no, I'm done, but just so you know, Franklin is the first public lending library. The first library was in Philadelphia, just for your history. Yeah.
Councilor Frangillo.
Just really quickly, I want to express my enthusiasm for the effort that we did put forward. And I really, again, logo, seal, I don't think it's a great faith argument that like a logo doesn't explain everything. Yes, no one knows what this is yet, but that's because it hasn't been out yet. No one knew what the stars and stripes meant on the flag before time happened with the stars and stripes. Oh. No one knew what the Chicago flag Ford things were, but now you associate with Chicago. Like, it takes some time to have an image associated with a place. I just don't think that's a good faith argument. I'm really excited to have a logo. We're going to be able to use it in a whole bunch of places that we're about to really start to be in the public, in better marketing and tourism, especially around the World Cup, especially around the 250th anniversary of the state, and as we add wayfinding signs around the town, having a coherent sense of colors, fonts, and logo is really important to all of that work. It didn't come out of taxpayer money. I'm really happy with the product that we had. I don't think it took too long. I think that it took in a lot of input and reflects all the values of the survey, of the feedback that we got I just wanted to add a little enthusiasm going into this vote.
Thank you, Councilor Frangillo. Any other comments? Councilor Chandler?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I didn't get to speak yet. I was on the EDC committee, and we had an original version that I was very against. And AJ and the whole team went back, and they redid this one. This is much better than what you were going to get presented with. So I do understand a little bit about Councilor DeLoco saying that it's going to be hard for Franklin to understand what that means. And that's why I think I had asked too to have like the 1778 on things, the town of Franklin. Like it needs something with it. Is that what you're saying? I don't want to put words in your mouth. But that's how I felt that it needed. It wasn't just the shield. We needed everything around it. But people did do a lot of work on this, and I think if we put the 1778 and we put the town of Franklin, it will work for right now. But let's just get through this vote. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor Chandler. Any other questions or comments from the council? Councilor Pellegrini.
Mr. Chairman, if we vote this tonight, it's going to be thrown back in our face that, well, you voted it, you wanted it, and that isn't maybe what we want right there. I would say let's table this and do a little bit more consideration of this. I know that some of our councilors have been working with this group, you know, to do this, and I'm just not happy with this. And I did speak to Lisa Piana. She stopped me one day, and she said that the people around, they're just not happy with any of this change right now.
Then you can table the project. I mean, I don't want to do that because a lot of work has gone into this and whatnot, but if people aren't happy and they're not enthusiastic, then it's like not, you know, it's not helpful, right? I mean, I don't think you want more division. I don't want something like this to be negative.
No.
I do think there are variations of this that AJ's put up on the screen with the 1778, you know, and whatnot. You know, but, you know, I think this is also gets to a question of, you know, this is the work that's been asked of us through various people. I think all of you have projects that you've put on the council goals. Some of you agree with some of those projects with each other, and some of you don't agree with some of those projects. But you're a 9-member council, you're not going to agree on everything, but there are goals on here for everybody. Some members aren't maybe as much in favor of the cupola restoration, right, Councilor Pellegrini? But it's on here, it's out to bid, we're gonna have a contract in a couple months. That's a really great way. Some people in the community don't wanna spend money on those things. Some people don't wanna spend community on other things. But all of our job is to try to bring that together and try to come to some consensus. So, you know, like I said, we can slow down the process after this about implementation and do a little more careful revision, but you know, obviously we don't want to be in a position where people are upset in the community and come back and continue to divide more over these things.
I will say we had a very robust community process. Lisa came to a couple of the meetings. I spoke with Lisa. She said that the business district wasn't weighing in on this, and they didn't have comments or concerns with it. So I think we had several public meetings and several iterations. We didn't hear any of that feedback from the public. So I don't, you know, we wouldn't have moved it forward, you know, and kept, you know, bringing forth different designs if we had been, you know, hearing negativity along the way. So I just want to offer that as well. I mean, we are still keeping the seal for our official document. So the seal is not going away. This is just for branding and marketing purposes, we're creating a logo to add to our inventory of ways to showcase Franklin.
You all set, Councilor Pellegrini?
That's okay.
Okay, any other questions or comments from the council? move to piece of legislation, action item 9B. Clerk will read the resolution.
This is Town of Resolution 2479, approval of Town of Franklin official town logo, whereas the Town Council of the Town of Franklin, recognizing the importance of systemizing departmental communication through branding, wishes to formally adopt an official Town of Franklin logo and tagline to be used for town marketing and communication materials, a copy of which is attached hereto as Exhibit 1. Now therefore be it resolved that the Franklin Town Council hereby adopts an official Town of Franklin logo and tagline, a copy of which is attached hereto as Exhibit 1. Said adoption is effective until revised or revoked by resolution of the Franklin Town Council. This resolution shall become effective according to the provisions of the Town of Franklin Home Rule Charter.
Move resolution 24-79.
Second.
Motion is second. Discussion on the motion. Councilor Cormier.
Mr. Chairman, just one point of clarification. Are we also voting on the cleaned up seal that they presented? Or is this,
No.
so that was just for our
That was
purposes of review?
Information.
Okay, so we're just voting on this?
Just voting on that.
Thank you. Okay.
Any other questions or comments from the council? Seeing none, the vote will come on the motion to approve resolution 24-79. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
The ayes have it. Motion carries. Okay. Next item on the agenda is the distribution of town-initiated ballot question materials. Jamie,
Yeah, super
Mark,
quick.
Nancy,
Yeah, super quickly, Mr. Chairman, just because I know time is of the essence. Frank Falvey has come to numerous meetings claiming that we should send out a booklet like the Secretary of State does. The town attorney has done the research. We've met with the town clerk. The town clerk, town attorney, and I are all completely opposed to this idea because you have to accept a local option statute, which we attached in there, which has an extraordinarily cumbersome process and actually puts the onus. This is why this is no disrespect to our lawyer, but the reason why no town adopts this is because it puts in the hands of town council, him, town attorney, but in other towns, town council, puts in their hands, they have to legally develop the yes and no arguments to put out in a pamphlet. And so the statute is written very poorly, and this is why towns don't adopt the local adoption statute. For a special election, local ballots, they don't send out a pamphlet-style booklet like Frank was asking for. I know Frank has said to me, many of you, that's not right, but that's the law. And we looked at other options, we met, and we both feel that at the end of the day, you know, you could send out a postcard as precedent announcing a special ballot election, but in working with the finance office, I mean, that'll cost tens and tens of thousands of dollars to mail out a postcard to do that. So that's an expense that we don't believe is necessarily going to provide a return on investment. So there's no legislation for action on this. We were just asked to provide the information. We wanted to make sure everybody had it. We will make sure we get this to Frank. And we just wanted to make sure you were aware of kind of our position on the matter. You know, we just did a special ballot election with 40 days notice and got almost 50% of the vote to come out. That's extraordinarily high, extraordinarily high. Any mayor or town manager will tell you that's a very, very high number in such a short notice. And so we believe the status quo should be preserved. Thank you.
thank you, Jamie. Questions on? Councilor Cormier-Ledger.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. I know
No,
everybody
I'm
wants to
sorry.
get out of here, but, so Jamie, if the proponents of an override and the opponents of an override decided to craft something, they would then have to mail that on their own? Is that what I'm hearing?
That's correct.
It could not be in cooperation with the town departments?
Correct.
But,
That's correct.
and certainly no town resources?
That's correct.
However, if those groups needed addresses to do the mailing, how would they go about getting that piece of information.
I believe we have a street
It's a
listing,
public
right?
request, they can ask me that.
They
That's a
can
public
go through the
record.
town
They can
clerk
definitely go
office
through
and
me.
get that information.
Absolutely, and I will
Okay.
tell you that on the back of the oh, sorry. Thank you. Nancy Danello, Town Clerk, thank you. I will tell you, on the back of the census, I do have that we may have a special election. So if you turn your census around, which nobody does, right, to read it, all of the elections are on the back of the census. And I did add to this one that's coming out in 2025 that we will have, or it's to be determined when it is, if it is. So, okay, and I mean, I have signs everywhere. We're not trying to hide anything.
Right.
Signs are everywhere. I mean, you can't go around town without seeing a sign. You go to the grocery store, every main intersection. I have the electronic boards. I buy signs to put up on the bridge. I go to every single senior facility at least 3 times a year, in case there are new residents there, to get them to sign up to register to vote, to notify them of elections. So if anybody's concerned that the seniors don't know of any elections, take it from me, they know. All the time I'm there.
I have no doubt in you, Nancy, that you get
My favorite
you get
thing
the
to do,
information
right?
out there with a
Elections.
smile on your face.
Thank you.
I guess my final question to you then is because unlike the last time,
Mm-hmm.
several months ago when we did the override, there was no yes and no language provided. So if the proponent and opponent groups provided that language, could it be included with the
No.
question, or it cannot be
Nope,
included?
no town
So,
resource.
so all we can tell those two groups is you can send out your own information on your own expense, and if you need mailing labels, you can come, or
Not the
mailing-
labels,
yeah,
a
mailing
list.
list information.
I can
you come
email
to
them the
clerk's
list.
office.
Yep.
Okay, fantastic.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Councilor Frangillo?
Yeah, just quickly, just clarifying. So, I agree that people know when an election is. I think the benefit of this would be transparency about our fiscal situation, would be the potential benefit. But your thought is that it's too cumbersome and politically fraught to attempt to negotiate language, both pro and con,
Yes.
in a condensed time with limited resources.
Yes.
That's the.
So the statute, in my opinion, is deficient. What they did was they took the state model and they tried to apply it at the local level. The application doesn't work well.
They've cherry-picked,
Because the state, it's the Secretary of State's office. He's got all kinds of resources. He's got staff attorneys, and they're capable of doing that. In this case, by default, they've dumped it on the local legal counsel to prepare myself, and frankly, I don't want it, and I'll tell you why. First of all, I would have to come up with my own fair summary of the question. That is exclusively given to the local attorney. And then you have to determine who's out there, pro and con. Make an affirmative search, and then among multiples, decide who can best recite a pro, best recite a con, and then gather that information. And to be perfectly honest, that's not a responsibility I want. It's very subjective, nor would I imagine that most people understanding the process would want that.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense to me. I do think that we should be extra sure to make sure that we're as clear as we can in the wording of any future ballot question, but that all makes sense to me.
Okay, moving on. Next item on the agenda is Resolution 24-82, adoption of updated fiscal policies. Clerk will read the resolution.
This is Town of Franklin Resolution 2482, adoption of updated fiscal policies. Whereas the Town Council has reviewed the document entitled Town of Franklin Fiscal Policies 2024, attached hereto as Exhibit 1, and wishes to formally adopt the contents thereof to guide its future financial decisions. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Council hereby adopts the Town of Franklin Fiscal Policies 2024 attached hereto as Exhibit 1. This resolution shall become effective according to the provisions of the Town of Franklin Home Rule Charter.
Move resolution 24-82.
Second.
Motion and second. Jamie, quick summary.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, everything in red on here has been amended by the Finance Committee. So this was done probably earlier in the spring, but obviously we got really busy. They actually held a pretty lengthy meeting to go through the financial policies. The content that's in black is what's current policy. The content that's in red is the proposed changes. This policy document was unanimously approved by the Finance Committee. They actually had a really great working session on it, and they all agreed on the Finance Committee that these aren't perfect. There's still more work to be done in the next session, but they thought that these changes made our financial policies substantially better, substantially clearer, and much more modernized than what we'd had. The highlight I would note is in number 4, and I know that the school business office is on the Zoom call. I just want to be clear about a couple things. On number 4, it's not just about the revolving fund language. I think it's the priority of all of you, I hope, but certainly the overwhelming support from the Finance Committee that since we've been a AAA bond rating community for 2 or 3 years, that maintaining that status is in our financial best interest across the board. So they really did dig in deep on this one. You can see they added it in several locations throughout the policy document. I would say again, the school business office is here regarding number 4. You'll notice down under the budget stabilization fund policy. The original policy that I inherited even from back in Jeff was used to overcome short-term operating budget shortfalls. It was very simple. The reason why we've added language that says, where legal, school revolving fund surpluses should be used for school budget shortfalls prior to authorization of the budget stabilization fund transfer to ensure the town maintains a AAA bond rating. The school department should, doesn't require, should, maintain a minimum target of at least $1 million in surpluses for unforeseen circumstances. We've heard Dr. Dutch at many meetings say that having revolving funds at a level that can try to pay for another year for emergency reasons is solid. The reason why the budget stabilization language is important is because, as all of you know, 5, 6, 7 years ago, and then again I think maybe 15 years ago, the budget stabilization fund was both used to try to prepare short-term budget gaps. But in our Moody's and S&P ratings on both of them for our bond ratings, they cited that our savings and that our strategic planning, revolving stabilization funds, as well as other factors, was a very, very important factor to our AAA bond rating. This came up at our debates in June. I know some of us weren't necessarily in favor of using the rainy day money this year, but that $1 million will hopefully go back in later. Having some sort of budget stabilization money. What we're just asking the schools is that where legal, like facility funds or activity funds or other areas, not special education or other those are legally prohibited. But there's a little bit more cross-section on some of the other funds where the town pays out money for services and maybe could have those fees recouped. What we're just simply asking them to do is to where legal, consider if there are shortfalls. Are there areas in their revolving fund surpluses that they may be able to use to patch any budget gaps on their side before tapping into the rainy day fund, like what happened in June, where you could go out for a borrowing in the next year or two and realize that you're a AA plus and your interest rates are going to go up. I would quickly also note the Fed chairman today, it could change. He did not seem too excited about dropping interest rates anytime soon in the next year. So that's another cautious way to kind of present this. So again, I know that Bob may want to make a comment really quick or someone else, but I just wanted to give that quick update. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Jamie. Questions or comments from the council? Councilor Frangillo.
Could we ask Bob if he's willing to?
Well, I want to get questions from the council first.
Okay.
Because as under legislation for action, council has first shot, then I'll go to them.
All right, then ask my other question.
Yeah.
Yeah, appreciate it. The snow and ice maximum cap of 1 million, that feels high. I don't know, I've never done snow or ice, so I don't know. But it feels strange that the snow or ice would be the same as, say, the schools. Is that typical practice? Why $1 million? Is that our up and down within a
You could go
given
through
year?
$1 million in a month and a half.
Okay.
That's just there because I am nervous about budget cuts, and you cannot get into snow and ice with having some reserve there. The other issue is, remember we used to use free cash as a safety net, and we put the whole snow and ice into the budget at the request of many? This gives, at least over the years, if there's excess snow and ice, we want to deposit that into that account to have a safety net, because someday we will get another 100 inches of snow, and we're going to need it. And I can guarantee you, based on cost increases relative to snow and ice removal, the amount of money that we currently have in the budget is probably not going to be sufficient for a really, really big winter. And so having $1 million in that is really important as a safety net. We're not there yet. That's just the goal. But having that as a safety net is really important. Otherwise, I'd have to increase the snow and ice budget in the budget, and then that deficit number that we talked about last night goes up.
Yeah. Okay, that's helpful. Yeah, I'd be interested in the school's thoughts, but.
Council DeLuca.
Yeah, just Kobe, just to let you know that in 2015, when we had the real bad winter, we had to come back and we had to put, I can't remember what it is, but we came back, I think, twice to put more money in the snow. Ice fund, I think, just to, I can't remember the figures, but it was
a lot.
It was a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Any other questions or comments from the council? Is there anyone out there in Zoom land, which includes, I know Bob Dutch is on, Dave Callahan's on.
And John is on as well.
John is on as well. Bob, please unmute yourself, jump on in.
I think I'm unmuted.
Yeah, you are. We can hear you, Bob.
I guess first I'd have a question for Jamie. Is this intended to be during the budget cycle as it was in June, or is this during the budget year we find that we have a shortfall?
Either or.
Okay. So I guess we would need to clarify which revolving accounts, because there aren't too many that aren't earmarked for specific purposes. Like you mentioned, special ed, school lunch, athletics, which we are already putting 100% of our revenue into the budget. And that's true for most of the revolving accounts that are fee-based. The only places you're seeing a balance from year to year are 3 accounts: school lunch, special ed, and lifelong learning. The rest, what comes in goes out for the most part. This past year, we spent, I can give you the actual numbers here if you give me 1 second. We took in $9.9 million and we expended $11 million. So that was $1.1 million more than we brought in this past year. Again, that's to balance the budget, so I'm not sure how much more opportunity there is for us to provide, but you know, I guess I'm a little bit confused about the expectation.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, first, it would just say where legal. I'd be curious about the facilities and the activity rates, because I know that you just raised the fees for the facility rentals, and you know we pay out a lot of that out of the municipal budget. But beyond that, it's just trying to put a good faith policy in place. I don't know if the expectation, by the way, is that this is going to happen this year or next year. There's no expectation that this is something that will even be utilized. It's just suggesting that the schools will evaluate it if there is a budget deficit. They will evaluate their own accounts before tapping into the rainy day fund. And the last thing I'll say is, this is just simply a policy. These are all guidelines. They're not laws. Thank you.
Bob, anything to add?
I did hear, I heard that, I understood. Happy to answer any questions if anybody has any.
Okay. Councilman Frangillo had a question for, I think for you, Bob, so.
Yeah, just so I'm hearing you right, it sounds like, I mean, would you describe the school department's strategies, even whatever, just in the time that you've seen, to be in line with the language as proposed? It sounds like you need some clarity around maybe the where legal, because there might be certain revolving fund surpluses that are dedicated already. But outside of that, I mean, it sounds like you were describing that it is standard school practice to draw down those revolving funds to cover budget shortfalls.
Yeah, I mean, we do it in advance when we, as we're budgeting, we identify the revenue that we expect from those accounts and we incorporate that into our budget. Partly because we're aware in a reasonable time in most cases as to what the appropriation will be from the town. I will say in the past, as I look at the data, that wasn't always the case where 100% of what came in went out. And that's why a surplus was built up and we were able to spend 1.1 million more than we brought in from past years. But given the budgetary challenges that we had last year and we anticipated this year, we knew that all of the fees would have to go into our budget to allow us to continue providing the services. And just to further answer your question, and to clarify something that Jamie had mentioned, he's right. For the facilities account, most of the costs of facilities, of the fees that we gather are charged back to us through the town for custodial services. The town doesn't back charge us for electricity or anything like that because the lights would be on in most cases anyway. There are a couple of positions that are funded out of the facilities account that are school-based positions that function for the sole purpose of managing facility rentals. So yes, that does go back to the town through our revolving account. And it's probably the only one that I can think of that fits the criteria that he was describing. Not to say that, you know, if there's a budget shortfall, we understand the expectation is that we're paying for those things within our budget. I would further say, as a point of information, the school lunch account, because school lunch has been paid for at no fee by the state, no fee to students, it has been profitable. And over the last 2 years, we've spent $500,000 on capital equipment for the cafeterias rather than requesting that of the town. So we do use the monies that come in to offset the costs of the school district.
Okay, so just clarifying what's happening here. So it sounds like, through you, if I said, it sounds like there has been a time, even in the recent past, where the schools were maintaining a larger than $1 million surplus in their revolving funds and using that to cover short-term budget shortfalls. And the advice from the finance department and committee is to not have too much split budget shortfalls in multiple places, allowing the schools to have up to $1 million, a minimum of $1 million.
Minimum, yeah.
Oh, okay, in surpluses. Okay, so I guess I'm trying to, how is this different than policy, or is it codifying policy? And you know, maybe to Dr. Dutch, you know, are there unforeseen, you know, handcuffs that you see that this places onto the school department?
I don't see any handcuffs, only because of the caveat of where legal, and the threshold is a minimum of $1 million. There's no, you know, the reality is that the school committee is in control of all of those revolving funds. The town council controls the appropriation to the school district. So it ultimately becomes a school committee vote to spend any funds out of revolving, whether that is to pay bills or offset a budget shortfall. It is their purview to do so. So this doesn't and can't legally change any of that.
That's right.
Okay.
I would just say that Bob did kind of clarify, he did codify our argument, which is, and I appreciate it, this is something that's a great thing. Change in law on school lunch resulted in some surplus revenue, and they went off and invested in that in some capital items that reduced the cost of the town to try to fund those items. That's exactly what this policy is designed to do. And I think Dr. Dutch also eloquently put it, back probably in 1819, they did have surpluses, but we did the rainy day fund instead, which hampered our ability to improve our bond rating. He couldn't have explained that any better, and I fully support exactly what he was saying.
That's all helpful, appreciate that.
Any other questions or comments? Name and address, please.
Steve Sherlock, 13 Magnolia, Community Information Director, Franklin Matters, Franklin Public Radio. Two concerns, partly was exchanged there, but given the discussions around towns and schools, I see towns stepping into some of the school responsibility roles. That's a slippery slope. Given some of the other discussions we've had, I'd be cautious about that. The other piece, in terms of it's just a policy, well, having spent time with finance on both town and schools, and a recording that's available to you, it was playing on the radio today. Policies are used by the auditors who come in and check the policy and see how it is being executed and followed in terms of our audit results, which are part of our AAA rating. So it's not just a policy to that extent. Because of time, I won't get into how the revolving fund policy on the school side was created, because that goes back to 2008. I was reporting at the time. Many of you were not around, but some of you were. I'll spare that for another time. But that revolving fund account and their process has certainly been watched over time, and that's one of the reasons why the audit reports went away from management letters, and now in the last 5 or 6 years have been really clean. So there's been a lot of work done on finance and the finance reorg, which we also spent time in the audio talking about how the improvements are going to be coming. Just cautious around the slippery slope that might be there. That's all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay, seeing no further discussion, the vote will come on the motion.
Can we just confirm that his hand is just left over?
Yeah, it's just.
Bob, are you were all done, correct?
Yeah, I'm done. I'll put my hand down, sorry.
Okay, the vote will come on the motion to approve Resolution 24-82, majority votes required. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Resolution 24-83, grant of overhead system easement, town-owned land at the northerly side of East Central Street to originate from pole 574. Clerk will read the resolution.
Motion to waive the reading?
Second.
Motion is second to waive the reading. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Move resolution 24-83.
Second.
Motion and a second to move resolution 24-83. Any further discussion?
Can we just talk about, any?
Quick,
This is for allow National Grid to put the EV charging stations on the municipal building.
The public utilities, the gas, the electric, they require this
Right.
full element.
Legislation.
Okay, appreciate that.
seeing no further discussion, the vote will come on the motion to approve Resolution 24-83. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. My favorite. Resolution 24-80, cable funds in support of PEG service and programming per Mass General Law, Chapter 44, subsection 53, F 3/4. Clerk will read the resolution.
Motion to waive the reading.
Second.
Motion and a second to waive the reading.
Just got used to it.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Move resolution 24-80.
Second.
Motion and second, discussion. No.
Clark, it's the gift that keeps on giving all year.
Can you just name it again, what we're doing?
This is the cable funds in support of PEG service. You want to read it? Go ahead.
No. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Okay.
It's weird.
The vote will come on the motion to approve Resolution 24-80. A majority votes required. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Resolution 24-81, gift acceptance, Veteran Services Department, $2,735. Senior Center, $130.02. Fire Department, $1,515. Clerk will read the resolution.
Town of Franklin, Resolution 2481. This is longer than the previous two. Acceptance of gifts, Fire Department, Senior Center, and Veterans Services Department. Whereas the Franklin Fire Department, Franklin Senior Center, and Veterans Services Department have received generous donations in the total amount of $4,380.02 to be used at the discretion of each department as follows. A donation summary. To the Fire Department, $1,515. These donations will be used at the department's discretion toward the purchase of safety and other related equipment and to fund departmental programs. To the Senior Center, $130.02. These donations are to be applied at the discretion of the Senior Center through the Council on Aging Gift Fund to provide services and programs to senior citizens in the Franklin community and improvements to the sound system at the Senior Center. And to the Veterans Services Department, $2,735. First, to the Gift Fund, $1,450, and second, to the Franklin Municipal Veterans Assistance Fund, $1,285. Donations to be used at the discretion of the Veterans Services Department through the Veterans Gift Fund and the Franklin Municipal Veterans Assistance Fund in support of local veterans and their families. A list of all donors are included in the 12/18/2024 Town Council meeting agenda packet. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Council of the Town of Franklin, on behalf of the Franklin Fire Department, Franklin Senior Center, and Veteran Services Department, gratefully accepts these donations, these generous donations to be used at the discretion of each department for the purposes noted above. This resolution shall become effective according to the provisions of the Town of Franklin Home Rule Charter.
Move resolution 24-81.
Second.
Motion second, discussion.
Thank you so
Again,
much.
Thank you.
Just
Thank
continue to say thank you to everybody who generously donates to our different service departments. So with that, the vote will come on the motion to approve Resolution 24-81. Again, a majority votes required. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Town Administrator's report.
First, the signatures are done for the Old South Church. We will be in the process of recording the deed over the next couple months. Huge news on that. Councilor Pellegrini, the bid is out for the cupola project on the top of the Historical Museum. Those bids will be due middle of January. We'll have a contract by February, and the work will start when the snow melts. So that should be good news there on both of those projects. And I just want to thank Corey, just walked out at the wrong time. I was going to give her a huge congratulations on an incredible event at the Aretha Franklin Sip and Stroll event. Hung out there for a while in the afternoon. 22 community groups, 24 cultural volunteers, 32 downtown businesses, 33 actual wreaths were created and presented, 82 tickets sold for Viva Las Elvis, 445 tickets for the Nutcracker, 526 wreaths, tens of thousands of dollars of sales in downtown businesses, and incredibly delicious martinis at Birchwood Cafe. It was a really amazing event. I hope next year it'll be 2 days. The downtown was filled with people, and I just can't thank them enough for all of their hard work. Amy and Corey, John, the whole cultural council, cultural district committee. A lot of artisans were there selling things. It was a great community event. And finally, I just want to say thank you to the council. Thank you to everyone out watching in Zoomland on TV. Thank you to all the staff for an incredible year. It's been very challenging. There's been a lot of ups and downs, but I think we should all feel incredibly proud with the work that we've done. And despite all the belly aching at times, this is still a really, really incredible community with a lot more going right than wrong. And I hope we can turn the corner in 2025 and have a really great positive year. And I just thank the entire staff for their tremendous work, and thank you on the council and all of our elected officials for a great year. We look forward to a great 2025. Wish everybody a Merry Christmas and Happy Holiday Season and Happy New Year. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. Okay, subcommittee reports. Capital has not met yet. EDC, I know has.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The EDC has met twice since the last full council meeting. We met tonight, and then we met a week ago. A week ago, we talked about the logo that you got to look at tonight. And tonight we got an MBTA communities update and a new style project update, along with a history of all of the things that have gone along with these two huge projects, from Brian Taberner, and he and Amy gave us a great presentation. It was just great. It was really wonderful to see all the work that's been done already, the frustrations, and kind of helps you understand why it takes so long to get these things done. I do not know, luckily for the rest of for the EDC, I don't know when the next EDC meeting's gonna be yet, so they're gonna break from me for a little bit,
Just text me.
just text me. But, so, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor Hamblin. Let's see, Budget Subcommittee, we had a joint Budget Subcommittee meeting last night. I thought the meeting was very productive. There was a lot of good information passed back and forth, and I think most importantly, we have set a schedule of listening sessions starting in January and going through February, getting out into the community in different locations. These listening sessions, one might be at the Elks, one might be at the high school, one might be at the senior center, but getting out, trying to get to different groups of residents by going to different locations. So I thought that was a very positive result of last night's meeting. So more to come as the budget season continues. Master plan, Councilor Frangillo?
Yes, the Master Plan Committee met. We had a long, open, public feedback and multiple public listening sessions at different places. We met, took in all that feedback, sent it back out to the committees, and we're coming back together on January 15th to make any revisions to the master plan based on the public feedback. Hopefully, we're finalizing our master plan for presentation and hopefully approval by the planning board in late January. So January 15th is that next meeting, and there are a few subcommittee meetings leading up to that.
Thank you, Councilor Frangillo. Police Station Building Committee has not met. GATRA?
Have not met.
Have not met. Okay, future agenda items. Councilor Sheridan?
Nothing at this time.
Councilor Hamblin?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Quickly, can Corey give us a presentation about her event or something like that, just so we can all share in how great it was? Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Councilor Frangillo?
Nothing at this time.
Councilor Cormier-Ledger?
Nothing at this time, sir.
Councilor Chandler?
Nothing at this time.
Councilor Plague? Councilor
Nothing at this time.
Councilor comments. Councilor Cormier-Ledger.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just first and foremost, want to send my condolences to the Perry family in Franklin for the loss of their dad. I know that was very sudden, and I'm thinking of you guys. Thank you to all the parents and coaches and football players that came out tonight. It seems like about 10 hours ago, but it was a lot of fun to see the smiles on those kids' faces and to share in that incredible feat. And lastly, I just want to thank everybody. There's a lot of groups in town, especially this time of year, that go above and beyond to help those in need. The Franklin Food Pantry, the Hockomock YMCA, the Safe Coalition, the Santa Foundation, many religious organizations, they all take it upon themselves, whether it's a food drive, a coat drive, toy drive, talking to people about specific needs that they or their kids have. It's not just about Christmas, it's just about holiday spirit, and I wanted to say thank you to all involved for continuing to help those in our community that need it most. And all the little elves behind the scenes that help make those things happen and give of their time and their resources. And I would be remiss if I didn't specifically thank one elf out there who a lot of us know, but she's a longtime Franklin resident. She is involved in many charities. She is now a renowned chef and was on a PBS cooking special, but she alone in the last year has raised over $20,000 to help charities here in our town, and that's Marcy DeChera. So thank you, Marcy. I don't know if you're listening. I know a lot of people have gone to bed, but hopefully you'll catch when this gets replayed. But your efforts are sincerely appreciated. I wish we had 100 of you, because think of the world of difference that would make for those in need in our town. But happy holidays to everybody and Happy New Year, and thank you to everyone for your huge efforts to make Franklin what it is. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Cormier-Ledger. Councilor Chandler.
Through you. These are the easiest council comments of the year. I say this every year. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year. Take a few days to recharge over the holidays, please, because January 2nd, not 1st, 2nd, it's back to work, and we'll continue all our hard work. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Chandler. Councilor Plagley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I too would like to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah to all. And I wanted to, many of you remember Val Caragino. She worked in the assessor's office for many years. Well, her husband passed away yesterday. And I wanted people, because they're living down at the Cape, and maybe they wouldn't know about it. So I did say to her, I'm going to announce it at the council. And the Davis there, you didn't mention that when you mentioned the other two things.
Yeah, the police station building committee is we hired the architect, and so there's a lot of citizens who wanna use the Davis Thayer site as possible site for the police station. And so I think the architects, who's already got a head start because Castle Booze has already done the analysis on Davis Thayer for years, the architects are gonna at least evaluate that site so that they can at least formally make sure the community is aware of whether that would be the site for the police station. And I'm just telling you, like, I'm just responding to citizens. I had a community preservation meeting tonight, and Wayne Sumerian and a group of people are just dedicated to making sure that's the police station site. And I think, unfortunately, on the police station committee, this is one of the benefits where the CEO lives in Franklin from the company, because he already knows that dynamic and is planning for it. So our consultants are looking at Davis there. Also, I've been spending a lot of time on other things that we have not had a time to start really drafting the RFP. Some of our staff were out on family leave for a while. So we gotta obviously get to that in January, but the police station committee is probably gonna at least formally look at the site as an option. I don't think it's gonna work. I think we've already analyzed this, but there's a group of citizens that really want it there.
Oh, well, that has been all through our meetings
Yeah.
and all the groups that wanted it to be there. And I thought it was said that it wasn't large enough, the parcel.
It's not, but they still don't believe anybody. So
Okay.
it's, right?
It's gonna be part of the evaluation process.
So then we're not gonna send out RFPs, and do these people know the two last applicants that came before us, I guess they're not applicants, but when they came before us, they were interested.
Yeah,
Are we letting them know now what's going on?
no, those were non-binding bids. Those didn't have any financials with them. Those weren't really serious bids. You know, what we do is look through the architectural process about the police station, document that, and then depending on where the police station committee goes, the decision by the council still stands. We're gonna put out an RFP for a mixed-use facility. As long as the police station committee doesn't decide to use the site for the police station.
But we don't want to lose these two people that came before us.
They're not, there's a lot of work that they have to do to make that serious. Those were not real bids, those were just conceptual ideas. Maybe we should talk about this offline, Mr. Chairman, just so we don't get into a debate
Yeah.
about an issue.
Okay.
Councilor Sheridan.
Just happy holidays. Merry Christmas, happy Hanukkah.
Councilor Hamlin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to thank everybody who came in tonight. It was packed full of people. It was great. I'd like to thank the town staff, everyone who works for us, for all their incredible work over the past year. And I just want to wish everybody a happy and safe and healthy new year. And we'll all be back to work soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Hamlin. Councilor Frangillo.
Happy holidays. Hope to see some of y'all tomorrow at Senior Center. One thing, just because I didn't hear it in your initial comments, just so it starts to get on people's radar, our cultural department has put out a request for any Mass 250, or the Massachusetts 250th anniversary is next year, and so they're trying to organize all the Franklin-based events celebrating history. So if you have any ideas, they are collecting submissions on their website. And a quick note, I don't think it's been posted on social media yet. If we're able to post that on social media, that might just help get it out to more people. Sure. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Councilor Frangillo. Councilor DeLarco.
Nothing, just Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to everyone, and I would like to send out my condolences to the Bellotti family. Francis Sex Bellotti died yesterday at 101, so may he rest in peace. He was, to say at least, a little bit of a tough guy, but he was a good guy.
Thank you, Councilor DeLarco. Again, I'll make it very short. I just want to thank my fellow councilors for all the time and effort and the hard work that's gone into this past year. And looking forward to the challenges that we're facing as we move into 2025. And I'd be remiss if I didn't thank our administrative team, our school department, for all of the efforts that go into making Franklin the greatest community around. So thank you one and all. Happy holidays to everyone. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Non-debatable. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.